Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today I'm going to be doing some of my favorite monster romances. I figured it's October. I just participated in the Monster Mash readathon and it was so much fun. So I kind of wanted to do a video, some spookier season videos. And so I want to go over my favorite monster reads. I think one of these might be a novella that I read for that readathon, but most of these recs are going to be some of my favorites in the past. So let's just go ahead and dive right into some of my favorite monster reads. Okay, so I wanted to start off the recs with one of my favorites. This could be alien romance or monster romance. I mean, it's definitely monster romance too, so I'm definitely going to put it in here. It's one of my favorite, it's like a series. It's 3 books around one couple, and they are going to be continuing with other couples later. But that is the Spider Mate series. If you've watched my channel before, you've seen me recommend this book. This is actually the bind up of all 3 of the books. So you have Ensnared, Enthralled, and Bound. I apologize if my ring light is hitting this because it's pretty shiny. But this is a spider romance. And I know it seems pretty crazy that our hero looks like this, but I love it so much. I actually was not going to read this because I was like intimidated by the spider. I was like, how can you even get into that? But I love the Book Refuge, and she had recommended this in multiple videos. And so I was like, it has to have some merit to it. It'd be good. So I picked it up and I binged all 3, and they were so amazing. This is between Katee and Ivy. And Katee is of Rycke, and this is basically on their planet where it's just like, it's a spider planet. The humans crash landed there. They were on their way to kind of like recolonize another planet, and they ended up crashing there. And it was many years ago. So they were kind of like in this crater. Katee actually is one of the most wanted, like he's a wanted spider by our queen. She's pretty evil, she's psycho, and she wants Katee to be her mate, but he does not want that. So he kind of lives off on his own, away from the community, like out in the jungle kind of woods area. He happens upon this crash site and he finds Ivy, and she's still in those like chambers where they sleep or whatever, and he wakes her up. And he takes her with him to his like nest up high up in the trees. And so when she wakes up, she is freaked out. Here you have this gigantic spider. He's very sweet. He's such a cinnamon roll hero, but you also have a language barrier between them. So she's scared because he's this gigantic spider. They can't really communicate because they speak different languages. So there's like that communication barrier. So it's a very slow burn through the first book. Of them like coming together and kind of getting to know one another, getting over that communication barrier and being able to communicate, and him just taking care of her because this jungle is just so dangerous and he needs to take care of her. And they're like, their relationship is just so beautiful. I love them so much. This is like a dress he makes her with his web. He does a little bit of bondage. So, I mean, by the 3rd book, like I was so in love with these characters, and I know it's crazy, but Katee is like on my book boyfriend list because he will do anything for Ivy. He's so devoted. He loves her so much. And they actually have other humans that were still alive in those chambers, so they end up waking them up. So like there's also that added like thing where there's these actual like human men, and he's like doesn't want to lose his mate. And you know, there's other women for his like other family spiders. So I just love this so much. The queen is like the villain, and it's just a beautiful romance. Please try and get past the image of the spider and read this, because I'm telling you, you'll love it. Like, it's one of my favorites. Okay, the next one I have, or the next two I have, are actually from the same series. I've actually only read these two in the series, so that's why I'm bringing up these two. But this is in the Naga Bride series, and this is by Naomi Lucas. The first one is The Viper, and this is actually a series about Naga. They're like half snake, half human looking creatures, and they actually are the only, like, basically the main creature that's like ruling on Earth. Earth has been uninhabitable. Humans left it a long time ago. And so now it's actually safe for them to come back. They've been at war with this other species out in space for like a long time, and they're losing this battle. So they end up coming back to Earth to come for this technology that's there. And the Naga are ruling this planet. And their women have actually, like the Naga women have actually left them and moved, like, I can't remember if it was east or wherever. They like abandoned the men. They didn't want to be their mates or have sex with them or anything anymore. So they basically left. So they don't have any mates or any women or anything. So when they see these humans come on their planet and they have a couple women, they decide, hey, we'll trade goods, some of our tech with you, but we want the women. And this human man that's like running this actually agrees to this. And the women are not okay with that. But since there's only two women, and there's many Naga, they basically come to an agreement where like they're going to chase down these women, and whoever claims them gets to be their mate or whatever. So these poor two women are basically sent out there, run for their lives, and these Naga men are chasing them down to claim them as their women. So the Viper is between, I think it's Vruksha, I'm probably saying that name completely wrong, and Gemma, and he's a Viper. He's like the red Viper snake, and he sees Gemma. She's got fiery red, beautiful hair, just like his skin, and he immediately had seen her and known, like, that's my mate, I want her. So he basically chases her down, claims her as his. There's a lot of like annoying fighting by the woman. I'm kind of like, just accept your fate. Like, you're not getting out of this situation. Just accept it and be with him. But she fights it hardcore. He takes her back to his like nest and tries to make her his mate. So it's a lot of like claiming and all that kind of stuff. The second one is the one I really loved, and that was King Cobra. And this is between Zaku and Daisy. You see Daisy in the first one because her and Gemma are the ones that have to go run for their lives. And they kind of lose each other. They end up separating. Zaku is actually the King Cobra. He's kind of like the king of the Naga. And he's the one that actually made this deal with the humans. And he had seen Daisy and he wanted her. When they start chasing her down, another Naga almost gets her, and she actually kills him, but not fully kills him, just hurts him. And she keeps running for her life, and the King Cobra finds her, and he basically takes her. He takes her back to his home, his nest, which happens to be a mansion up in this hill. Like, it's full of all these old human clothes and riches, and it's got good tech. There's like robots that like clean up the place. It's just a really amazing setup. And he basically wants her to be his mate. But there is also this big thing of like the size difference about like, how is this even gonna work? It's pretty crazy when they do finally have sex. I really liked this one because the characters I liked a lot more. I loved Daisy's character and kind of the action that ends up happening later in the book. And it was pretty hot, even though the sex scene is pretty awkward because they have to figure out how to make it work because he's the biggest one to fit. So anyways, those are those two. The another one that I have by Tiffany Roberts is Treasure of the Abyss. And this is a Kraken romance, so a lot of tentacles, if you like that. This is between Jax and Macy, and I was kind of surprised how much I really liked this. I really enjoyed this first one. Basically, this is on another planet too, so I guess it could also be alien romance. But Macy has been afraid of the ocean because I think she lost her sister or something when they were out in the ocean when they were younger. So she's really afraid of it. She is kind of friends with this guy and thinking they're going to get married, even though they don't really love each other. They're childhood friends. And he invites her to go out on his sailboat, and she doesn't really want to go out in the water, but she does. And the big storm ends up happening and capsizing their boat, and she ends up getting rescued by a kraken named Jax. And he wants to take her with him and claim her and all of that. So he ends up taking her off to like this hidden location. And he's kind of like a wanderer compared to all the other kraken. And he wants her to be his mate. But there is like an issue with like the humans finding out about the kraken and what kind of war that could bring. These kraken were actually created a long time ago by humans. So there's a lot of interesting little stuff going on there. It is a series. I haven't read the rest of it. I think I've only read the second one. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was different. I thought the sex was like extremely hot, like with the tentacles, like he could like feel her and taste her with his tentacles. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, I really liked it. So it's a good one if you want to try a kraken romance. Okay, the next one that I have, it's the start of a series. I'll bring up a couple of the books, I think 3 books that I've read so far. But this is Soul Eater by Lily Mayne. This is one of my favorite books of the year that I've read. It's a 6-star romance to me. This is a male-male romance, monster romance. And this is a Monstrous series. This is book number 1. And this is between the Soul Eater, which his name is Win, and Danny. And this is a post-apocalyptic world. Basically, this tear has opened up, and multiple tears have opened up throughout Earth, and the monsters have come through this tear from their world into ours. So at this point, it's like 20 years after the monsters have come through, and it's a pretty dire situation. The whole center of the United States is like the wastelands because the monsters aren't really okay with being near the sea or the oceans and stuff, so they kind of stay in the center. And so a lot of people have been killed out there, so they're not safe places to stay. So there's kind of cities around like the coast. And they have the military who's been kind of fighting them and doing experiments with them. And Danny is actually in the military. He's not a very good soldier. He kind of joined up because his mom died and he didn't want to go to the wastelands and stay in the city. So he joined the military for safety, basically. And in the beginning of this, you have the military kind of setting up a trap or like a diversion for the Soul Eater. The Soul Eater comes every once in a while, like every few years or whatever, and he kills like at random, they think. They don't understand why he's killing certain people, and it's like all over the place. And the Soul Eater is set to arrive. So they kind of set Danny and his troop up to like basically be like a diversion to get killed by the Soul Eater so they could come in and catch him. And they end up catching him. Soul Eater's like killing all these people. He sees Danny and he doesn't kill him. And Danny kind of passes out, wakes up in the military facility, and the Soul Eater has been captured. But he will only talk to Danny. And so Danny has to, like, they're actually using Danny to get to know him, to find out things. And Win basically has this connection to Danny, and he feels it, and that's kind of why he let himself get captured. And he also wants to free all these other monsters that are being horribly tortured and, tested and all this stuff. So he ends up escaping, freeing the monsters, and he takes Danny with him. And the Soul Eater has his own mission of like what he's supposed to be doing, why he's killing these people at random. And Danny decides to go on this trip with him, and they have this beautiful romance. This is one of the sweetest romances. Like Danny's oddly like attracted to Win. Win is like kind of like what he looks like on here. He wears a hood, he has horns, but it's like completely black in front of the hood where he can't see him. And he has like these like dark colored fingertips. He can change into like smoke, and he's really badass. He's a badass monster. So like Danny kind of like admits his attraction, and they end up kind of fooling around. And the sex is extremely hot in this because it's pretty inventive since he's a monster. The different ways they can kind of get together. So I've never read such a sweet monster romance, and I loved it. It's like, and I love the world building of this post-apocalyptic world. It's fantastic. So the next one I'll just briefly go over, and that is the second book in that series, and that is Edin. Edin is like this big purple monster that wears like a kilt, and he's like really big and friendly. He's very like sunshine, and this is his romance with Hunter, and he's actually in the military, very devoted to the military. He lost part of his leg, so he has a prosthetic. And he ends up being out with his other military, you know, his best friend, and they get attacked by some monsters, and his friend gets captured. And so he gets the help of Edin. Edin offers to help him to kind of track these monsters because they're able to go underground and to try and get it so they can free his friend. Edin is like really close and good friends with Soul Eater, so you will see Win and Danny in this one. And I just loved it because it was like a very grumpy, sunshine, sweet little romance. So it was also a really good monster romance. Okay, and the third book that I read from this was the Rycke. This one was really interesting because the Rycke is like one of the most powerful monsters. The monsters all are afraid of the Rycke. He's kind of almost bird-like. He's got these huge wings and like bird feet kind of thing, but everything else is like human looking. And he actually was also in the facility where he was being captured by the military and tortured and all of that stuff. So one of his wings is damaged. And we have Ghost and his best friend. They actually live out in like the wastelands in this other facility, not a facility, but like community. And they go back to that facility to go and like scavenge for goods. And they end up finding Ari, and they free him and take them with him so they can like help him get better and mend him. And Ari is just the sweetest like monster, even though he's supposed to be one of the most ruthless, dangerous monsters. The Soul Eater didn't want to get near him when he freed the monsters because monsters are scared of the Ryckes. And there's only one Rycke at a time, so like he's kind of lived a lonely life. So he instantly feels this connection to Ghost, and they end up kind of having this slow burn, sweet, mutual pining relationship. But the problem is there's a weird lady that has a monster dragging her like trailer, and she wants the Rycke because she collects monsters. So they kind of have to go off to get her to go away from their group. This was really, really pretty, like sweet, another sweet monster romance. The Rycke is really badass because it doesn't want violence, but if you go after somebody it loves, it's going to turn into the badass monster. So I absolutely love this one. This series is so great so far. There's also a novella after this that kind of goes into Win and Danny again from Soul Eater. So, and I love that one. I gave it 5 stars. It was such an amazing novella. Okay, so now I want to give you guys some recs for some novella monster romances in case you're interested in just something quick and spicy and fun. And the first one that I have is The Beast by Jenika Snow. I absolutely love this monster little novella series that she has. This is obviously a Beauty and the Beast retelling, except he never turns from the beast. So that's fun. It's a wild ride, and I just had so much fun with it, and it was spicy and hot, and it had all the stuff that I love. Basically, Belle's father like owes money, has debt, so he gives Belle to the Beast to cover that. The Beast has been kind of like almost stalking her anyways, like he wants her, and so that's what he wanted. And basically he takes her and he's going to make her his and claim her. This has some great stuff. It's got primal play, breeding, praise, nodding, and he's too big, and copious amounts of stuff. So it's a fun time. It's a quick read. The one that I read for the Monster Mash Readathon was The Gargoyles Captive by Katee Robert. I did this for like the gargoyle prompt. I actually really enjoyed this one. This is between Bram and Grace. If you've read her other series that I think she bound up into one book, and it's like the reverse harem vampire series she had, you were introduced to Grace, and she is a monster hunter. She ends up making a deal with a demon to help the heroine and the characters in that book. But she has her own reasons for making this deal with this demon. Katee Roberts has this novella series, and it's about like this demon realm where these women, anybody that makes these deals, they basically kind of have to give like 7 years of their life in the demon realm, and they get auctioned off to a monster basically. So in this, she wants to go to this demon realm because her mother was a monster hunter, and she disappeared when she went to this demon realm and never was seen again. So she wants to find her mother. So she ends up getting auctioned off to the Gargoyle. The Gargoyle is kind of in a tough spot. He needs a woman. He needs an heir. His people think he has like a curse on him because all of his family was killed and died. And so they kind of are superstitious and all that. So he ends up taking her. She does not plan on staying. She plans on escaping him, and she tries multiple times so that she could try and find her mother. And every time he catches her, he's like, okay, if you try to escape me, like, I'm going to F you. Like, we're going to get it on. But what's crazy about this is she actually takes a dominant role in their sex, and it's kind of like a female dom thing, which I found really fun. You don't get too much of that, and it was kind of fun in this situation. So I actually really enjoyed this one. It was fun. And then the last one that I have is the Half Orcs Maiden Bride by Ruby Dixon. This one was really fun. It was a fun orc one. You have Agakor, I think that's how you say his name, and then Ilenth. I'm totally messing up those names. But she was kind of like a bigger, taller woman, not seen as a beauty, and so she was really down on herself. Her father treated her like crap. He basically arranges a marriage with this half orc to get rid of her so he can get like his stuff that he needs. He's not very good to her. But when our orc sees her, he's smitten. She's bigger. She'll be able to handle him. And so they have like this kind of mating ceremony they have to kind of do for their tradition, where there's like a revealing the bride, tasting the bride, and then bedding the bride. So she has to be like naked, revealed in front of all the other orcs and stuff, and then he tastes her, and then they have sex. So it was fun. It was short. It was cute. I really loved him. He was like very sweet and attentive, and it was nice to see her kind of get the love she deserved. So those are my monster recommendations. I will definitely probably have more to come. I love reading monster romance, and I just read a bunch more for the Monster Mash Readathon. Hopefully you guys participated in that. If you have any recommendations, please leave them down below. I'm always happy to get more monster recs. All right, thank you so much. As always, please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.